Welcome back to another episode of Getting to Know the MsShwantz 27, but this time I have a special guest alongside of me. I have dragged the missus down from the upstairs into the man cave to do another Q&A session. How are you doing today, Ms. Schwantz?
I'm okay.
Froyo is delicious?
Froyo is really good, except they did not have cookie dough.
Well, the Oreo crumble topping is just as good, no?
No.
Not as good as the Froyo?
No, not at all.
Anyway, if you're bored of my questions, then you could leave your own questions down in the comments section for both of us for the next episode. And by the way, somebody requested that the Q&A videos go up on like a SoundCloud so that people can download them and listen to them on the go. So if you look down in the description, it's soundcloud.com/themshwantz27. I will be uploading future episodes to the SoundCloud. Now, I only have 3 hours total of time as a free account, so let me know which episodes you want me to put up, and I will put those specific past episodes up. And as new episodes come in, I'll phase the older episodes out. But do you want to get right into the user-submitted questions?
Sure.
All right, so my brother from a Brooklyn mother, I Plow Fat Apes, asks, would you guys skinny dip in a pool full of Jello?
No.
No?
No.
See, I have a caveat. I would do it if nobody else is watching.
Oh, I couldn't watch you?
Well, you could watch
Okay.
me. I mean, like, you know, I wouldn't want to go to, like, the annual skinny dip in a pool full of Jello, like, convention. I don't know if they have those sorts of things. It'd be kind of weird.
I feel like you would totally still do that, though. You're, like, way more of an exhibitionist than I am.
All right, well, listen. Back in college, there may have been a time, or several, where streaking was involved.
I know. I've heard those stories.
So there was one time in college when I lost heavily in a beer pong match, and the wager was loser has to streak across from one side of the dormitories to the other. So of course I lost, and I upheld my end of the bargain, only to unfortunately be met by a van full of drunken people coming home from the bar. So that was kind of fun, but I don't know. I don't like the way I look naked, which is probably why I don't think I would skinny dip in a pool full of Jello, just because I feel bad for everybody else that has to see me, you know what I mean?
No, but that's okay.
Are
I look
you-
at you naked, so
Well, you have to look at me naked.
I don't have to do anything.
That's true. Isn't it funny, though, that Bill Cosby is he still a spokesman for Jello?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
Well, this kind of event would be right up his alley, if you know what I mean.
Ew, that's so creepy.
All right, next question is from D Money Blanco. Did you have a childhood hero like in TV or sports?
No. Wow, this is really boring. No, I didn't.
Yeah, this is the worst Q&A ever.
Sorry. I don't know. I can't think of one. I read...
You didn't have anybody that you looked up to, admired?
No.
Do you have a celebrity that you wanted to be like?
No. I was not that type of girl. Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to go with sports. My favorite baseball player when I was growing up was Cal Ripken Jr., even though that I am a Yankees fan, and he was on the Baltimore Orioles, which is a rival team. But I liked Cal's attitude. He would show up every day to work and give it 100% for 2,600 and something or other. No, damn it, the picture has the record that he broke, not the total number of games he played in a row. I have a picture of Cal Ripken behind me on my wall here. So he is my sports childhood hero, and then TV was Steve Urkel. Did I do that?
Of course it was.
Steve Urkel was
Unsurprising.
amazing. I loved Family Matters.
Unsurprising. Of course you did. I mean, I did too, but I wouldn't like...
DJ Tanner was not your childhood.
No, I wasn't like... I watched Full House, but it wasn't like my thing.
Next question from J Sugar01. What country do you think is a better American ally, England or Canada?
England.
See, I'm going to disagree with you.
Well, it doesn't mean I like England better than Canada. I'm just saying that England like blindly follows whatever our president wants us to do. But I guess you're right. Canada doesn't, so it's probably a better ally. They're not stupid.
Well, here's the thing, and here's why I think Canada's a better ally, is because England's fucking pissed off at us still.
Why?
We've beat them in 2 wars, and they want revenge.
What 2 wars?
The Revolutionary War
Yeah.
and the War of 1812.
They don't want revenge.
They
though.
want Listen, if the southern United States still wants revenge from the Confederacy, then England is still they're still salty about those 2 wars. They want revenge at some point, which is why I think England will stab us in the back at some point to be like, "This is for the War of 1812, motherfucker." It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you're making false equivalencies there. I think they're over it. They hate the Irish more than they hate the Americans. And I love the Irish, just as an FYI.
Yes, you studied Irish history in college, did you not?
I did. I just want to make that point. I like England and I like Ireland, so please, no hate mail.
Well, actually, there's another question. I'm going to skip down here. Would you ever come to the United Kingdom from Stato?
I studied there for 3.5 months. I lived there in London, and I loved it, and I would certainly go back.
You would go back. See, the last time we had talked about going to England, you used to say, "I don't want to go back there because I would stay and not come back."
I'd say if I go to London. So if we go someplace else in the United Kingdom, maybe there wouldn't be a chance of me leaving you and staying.
Well, you would really like to go to Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom, right?
No, it is not.
Oh, Northern Ireland. I'm sorry.
Do
I'm
not
sorry.
make that mistake.
We're going to cut that part out. We're cutting that part out of the commentary.
Brian just said that Ireland is part of the UK.
We're cutting that part out.
No, we're not cutting it out.
Well, I have some friends in other parts of the United Kingdom besides London, and in Scotland, and in Wales, so we could go shack up with some of my YouTuber buddies and subscribers of mine. This way we don't have to pay lots of money for hotels.
I don't stay in other people's houses anymore. I'm 30. I stopped doing that.
So the answer to the UK one would be, yeah, probably at some point. I've also been to the United Kingdom. I've been to London before for a couple of days for a friend's relative's wedding, and we stayed in Vauxhall by the cricket arena, the Oval, and I have no idea how to play cricket, but I just went to the bar and drank with a bunch of people that did. People in London, they never have to fucking work. I would walk in at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday and people would be drinking at the bar. Maybe it's just because I was in the degenerate part of London.
Maybe. I saw a lot of people going to work on the tube.
Well, you have a much larger sample size than I do.
Yeah.
JSugar01, at what time do you think America will be completely marijuana legal?
I don't think soon enough, and I actually don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But it'd be awesome if it did.
See, I have some data because I did a little research, and 2013 was the first time in Gallup poll's history since they've been recording back in 1969 about legal marijuana. And 2013 was the first time that more people said yes than no. 58% yes, 39% no. And the trend is going that people that are 18 to 29 say yes 67% and no 31%, versus people that are 50 plus is more like 50-50. Two of those people are your parents, right?
Yes.
So I think that marijuana being legal will happen in our lifetime, actually. I think it'll happen soon because the trends are going that way.
I hope so. I mean, I think it's funny that, like, I guess I really don't know much about the time period, so maybe I'm just, like, talking out of my ass. But I feel like the people who are older kind of went through the whole hippie revolution thing, and I'm not one to necessarily say this, but they might know a little bit better than us. Just because they've already gone through it, and obviously when they were younger, it still had a stigma, but they didn't pay attention to it that much. That, you know, maybe we'll mellow out about it as we get older too.
Well, isn't that what marijuana is supposed to do? Mellow you out about things?
Well, I meant, like, make it more divided. But I think that, you know, it's like anything generational. The younger kids that are supporting it have parents that smoke and get high. And they see that it doesn't necessarily, I mean, obviously addicting, so don't jump on me for that. I know that, but you know, they see that you can have a life and do that as well. And you know, the people who have problems with it will have problem with any drug or alcohol.
And I mean, I think that the war on drugs in and of itself is the cause for a large majority of the problems that the United States faces, be it the overpopulation in prisons. A lot of the plight of the black community has to do with the mass incarceration rates for them.
I don't disagree.
There's a lot of things tied to this.
I don't disagree with you on all that stuff, but I don't necessarily think making marijuana legal is where they're going to go for the solution to that. They might decriminalize smaller amounts of marijuana, carrying smaller amounts of marijuana, so they're less focusing on, you know, majority of people and only going after people that have massive amounts of it. I'm liberal on this issue, so.
So MsShwantz says not soon. I think 10 years.
Bold statement.
Bold statement. I'm going to bet $1 in 10 years. All right, next question comes from What's Up 910. Out of the current candidates from both major parties, who do you think will be the Republican and Democratic nominations for the presidency? All right, so for me, I think the Republican candidate is going to be Jeb Bush, just because as of now, he holds the majority in the polls for lots of different polls, most polls actually. He's ahead of most candidates, but it's as tight as a nun's vagina out there. Whoa. If you look at the polling data. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are within 3 or 4 points of one another. I'll put a link to the poll that I'm looking at into the description here. So just based on polls, I think it's going to be Jeb Bush. And then on the Democratic side, the polls are not close, and it's Hillary Clinton. So I think we're going to have another Bush-Clinton race here. Now, another part of this that he didn't ask is, who would I like to see as the presidential nominations? And for my sake, if I was to vote, I would like to see Bernie Sanders on the Democratic ticket, just because I like Bernie better than Hillary. To me, Hillary's a bit of a sleazeball when it comes to politics. She does some things that are like, you know, kind of questionable. Like the email thing, I know it's not that big of a deal, but it's still kind of a questionable thing to do. Versus the Republican candidate, I would like to see Rand Paul, just because he's much more libertarian than any of the candidates, and he's actually somewhat potty trained. I mean, Ben Carson's a fucking idiot. You guys know how I feel about religion.
Stupid.
You guys know how I feel about religion, so Mike Huckabee's out. Ted Cruz is fucking crazy. Bush is just way too flip-floppy. I'm not a fan of Walker or Rubio either, so that leaves me with Rand Paul, who I like some of his ideas. He wants to decriminalize drugs. He wants to do some things that I agree with. However, you know, me being the progressive that I am, I would much rather go with Bernie Sanders. So what are your thoughts, MsShwantz?
Oh, George Pataki isn't on that. I just noticed on the Republican one, which is kind of crazy because who's on there? And they haven't even like.
Lindsey Graham, has he actually announced?
Yeah, I don't know. Neither is
Bobby
Christie.
Jindal.
Chris Christie. I agree with you that those are the likely nominees, and it will be very interesting. And I agree with you. I really like Bernie Sanders. I like a lot of the stuff he says. He's kind of local to us in Vermont, so we hear a lot about him. But it does make me excited that we might have a woman president, which would be awesome. It's kind of like life mimicking 24.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, so
David Palmer dies, and then
that's kind of like for
what
such a
was
like
her name?
Such a I don't know, fucking forget, but for such like a focused show on like anti-terrorism and such like I feel like a quintessentially right wing show, yeah. That they are very liberal with their presidential choices in that show. I do think it's gonna wind up being Hillary, and if it is, I would vote for her because.
Yeah, I would vote for her too. I would just rather have Bernie Sanders.
I know. But... And on the Republican side, I know I said I want like the stupidest person ever, so that way a fucking non-crazy person wins. But realistically, George Pataki was our governor, I think he's kind of more towards the middle, maybe not so psychotic. So
Gov HQ, how often do you and your wife go to hockey games nowadays? Well, the season unfortunately is over. Sorry it took us like 9 months to get to your question, as it says here. But we did go to one hockey game for...
Two. We went to two this season. We went for my birthday.
That's right.
When you got me second row seats, because you're the best husband ever. Behind the bench. Best husband ever. Let me tell you. Best present ever. Best birthday ever. Best husband ever. And then we went again because your mom got you tickets for your birthday. So we went, and that was really fun. They won, right?
Yes, they won both times.
Yeah, they won on my birthday. The win was amazing. We scored 5 goals in the fourth period.
The fourth period?
Sorry, the third period.
What the fuck kind of hockey fan are you? The fourth period.
I had a drink before. And then we were offered tickets to go to actually a third round playoff game, but it fell through, and then hopefully we'll get to go next year.
Yeah, so that takes up the second half of his question. Are we going to any playoff games? I've never been to a Rangers playoff game at Madison Square Garden. I've been to a Rangers playoff game at the Prudential Center, the Rock, and I've also been to an Islanders Sabres playoff game at the Mausoleum, but I've never been to Madison Square Garden for a playoff game.
You are missing out. I've been to so many playoff games because you know, but you guys out there don't know, that I used to buy season tickets with my dad from his friends, and part of the deal for buying some of his friends' season tickets was guaranteed playoff tickets. So for every round they went in the playoffs, we got a ticket for one of the games, which was pretty awesome. I mean, we had to pay for them, but
it's much harder now that we don't live in Manhattan.
Much harder.
All right, Slide Wolf Gaming. You and MsShwantz are awesome on the mic together, even though I hate the fucking Rangers with the passion of 1,000 suns. Your story was so cute, and me and the wife loved it.
Aww.
Hope you do more of these. So we will be doing more of these as long as you guys leave us questions to ask,
and
to
if you're
answer.
not too mean, because people got like really judgy, and that doesn't make it fun for me. Sorry.
Well, listen, it's the internet. People have various different opinions. It doesn't mean their opinions are right. My opinion is always right. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
And they all stink.
And they're not all clean.
All right, so his question is, what's the craziest criminal act you've ever witnessed in person?
I think, unsurprisingly to most of you, I was kind of not someone who got involved or was around a lot of criminal acts.
So in other words, you're deferring to me here.
I am deferring to you. I mean, there wasn't anything crazy. I probably saw like the normal shit, like someone selling drugs, someone doing drugs.
So for me, the craziest thing I've ever witnessed in person, I actually pseudo participated in, but we'll move past that because I didn't actually do anything wrong. All I did was supply the getaway car, so I guess I'm an accessory to whatever.
Yeah, haven't you been watching Orange is the New Black with me? you should know what you would be.
Yes, everything in real life should be based on a TV show. Anyway, so the craziest thing that I've ever seen in person is one of my friends had a job at this place. I'm not going to name the place just in case it's still an issue. I don't want to give you guys any tips and tricks for any breaking and entering or anything like that. No B&Es. But that's basically what happened. Is one of my friends worked at this place, knew of a window that wasn't ever properly locked or couldn't be properly locked the right way. So one night at like 2 in the morning, which is way after they closed, because this was a summer seasonal restaurant that only served breakfast and lunch and maybe dinner until like 8 or 9 o'clock, because it was at the beach. So the beach closes when the sun sets, kind of thing. So we drove to the restaurant, and he broke in through the window and stole boxes upon boxes of food, including hamburgers, steaks, beers, a bunch of different shit, and piled it back into the trunk of my car, and we just drove away. Retro Moddingmer 102. What is your opinion on new metal or modern metal and all that? Some people say that Metallica and Megadeth back in the 80s were the best and real metal. And honestly, I like some modern day metal, Disturbed and Evanescence being 2 of them. Just curious to know your thoughts on this. Well, Disturbed just came out with a new song, and this is what it sounds like.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. That's the greatest hit of Disturbed parody thing. They actually did come out with a new song. They announced through an email. I get their emails because I guess I'm a part of their fan club or some shit. That they have a new album and they have a new single from it, and the music video is hysterically cheesy, so I'll leave a link to it in the description. But Disturbed is actually one of my favorite bands too. Evanescence, I don't consider them metal. Do you consider them metal? No. I'm not a huge fan of new metal. Don't get me wrong, there are some albums that stand out, like Korn's first album is great. Some of Slipknot's stuff is okay. I guess you would consider it new metal, but most new metal is terrible.
Would you even consider Korn and Slipknot metal? I don't.
Korn is considered new metal.
Is it really?
Yeah. Korn, Limp Bizkit, bands like that. Linkin Park, those are considered.
That's so not new metal. That's hardcore music. It's not new metal.
That is not hardcore music.
That's
not
like, oh no,
close.
You're right. It's like folkcore, but no way is that new metal. That's ridiculous.
All right, we're gonna look it up right now.
Okay.
But to me, new metal is like that era of metal, like 2000s-ish type of metal.
Early development. We're Wikipediaing right now. Ooh, Deftones.
Deftones is considered new metal too. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I wouldn't.
It's basic.
Cold Chamber too.
Yeah, so this is the list of new metal artists. There's some in here that might surprise you. To me, I consider new metal music to be kind of like the heavy chorus and the really like much lighter verse parts, and that's why I don't like it. Like for me, I like my metal music fast and loud the entire time. Like a lot of Korn songs, they have like a very heavy chorus part, but then think of, Freak on a Leash, where it's just like two notes that go back and forth, and then the chorus part is, very heavy and it's got a nice rhythm to it. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of new metal or modern metal. I like the older metal style. I like Priest, Maiden, Slayer, Megadeth, those metal bands. I love those bands. Iced Earth, bands like that.
I don't like this classification, new metal. I don't think
that's
that any of it might be what it's called. I don't agree with it. That's not what I knew it as, I guess, when I was growing up. Like,
really?
My friends.
See, I always heard that. I guess I was tapped more into music back then, of like this style. I know that you really like ska and punk music.
Yeah,
but I was more into metal music.
But my friends liked a lot of these bands too.
Well, you used to wear Jenko jeans, right?
I did used to wear Jenko jeans and beeswax my hair. Yes, I did do all that stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like that wasn't. I don't know. I definitely don't like some of it, and I don't like all of it. But that to me, I wouldn't consider like new metal. I would just keep metal as the 80s and then call this stuff something else.
And last, but certainly not least, is Harag Avakian. Does your wife play video games too?
Sometimes, but not Call of Duty.
You play mobile games mostly, right? Like
not mobile games, no.
Like on your iPad. Those are considered. I would consider those mobile games.
One game on my iPad, and that's it.
Well, you play the pipe game, right? Where you have the different colored lines. I've seen you playing SimCity.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing.
That. Yeah,
you used to be all about like the Diner Dash and those kind of games like that.
Yeah, but that was on my computer. That wasn't on my iPad, and it just like
I consider
got
those mobile games.
Yeah, but I played it on my computer. That got boring.
But you used to play Pinkman, right? Or Pikmin?
Pikmin.
All right, so the answer to your question is no, not really. The wife is not much of a gamer, although she does want to support, the things that I do, including my YouTube videos, so that's why she's down here, and I really appreciate her coming down and taking, some time out of her day to slum it with me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of getting to know the Schwantzes, I guess, because it's not just me. It's me and Ms. Schwantz. And if you have a question for us to answer for next time, leave it down in the comments section. I'm trying to think of a good way to end it.
The end.
No, like my stupid sayings that I usually do.
The end.
No, like...
The end.